In life, there comes a fire. Most see ashes and believe the story is over. Ashes are not the end. They are the birthplace of transformation. The phoenix does not ask permission to rise. It rebuilds itself through pain, through discipline, through purpose. And perhaps the greatest tragedy in life is not falling. It is remaining in the ashes when you still possess the power to rise. This season is for the tested, for the wounded, for those who refused to surrender their soul. Listen carefully. Your fire was not sent to destroy you. It was sent to remake you. Welcome to Season 3 of Your Moment Starts Now. The Phoenix Mindset with Tony Zotti.
The silent killer is not failure. It is looking back and realizing fear convinced you not to live, and regret collected the cost. You still have time, but don't wait forever. Welcome back. I am truly honored that you would spend a few moments with me today. Before we begin, I would like to share something important with you. This season is designed to help us reflect on the trials we face every day and discover how we can overcome them. My hope is that these conversations will be honest, reflective, and above all, healing. So before we continue, I encourage you for the next few moments, if possible, to listen without distractions. Not because this message is perfect, but because sometimes one single thought can begin changing the direction of our lives. A single thought can awaken the person you were meant to become and set you on a path toward a more meaningful and satisfying life. Today, I want to talk to you about a silent killer, a killer that has damaged more lives than many people realize. Its name is regret. Regret is defined as a feeling of sadness about something wrong, a mistake that was made, and a wish that things could have been different. Most people have experienced regret at some point in their lives. The problem is not that we experience it. The problem is when regret begins to control us. I know this because I have been there myself. There was a season in my life when regret became a prison. It would creep up into my thoughts unexpectedly. My mind would replay the past over and over again. What I should have done, what I could have done, what I wish I had done. Night after night, it kept me awake. Day after day, it robbed me of focus. I was physically present, but mentally trapped in yesterday. Perhaps some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Perhaps right now, you're carrying regrets from weeks ago, months ago, even years ago. If that's you, I want you to know something. You are not alone. And today, I believe there is a way forward. Finding hope in darkness. When regret had its strongest grip on my life, I found comfort in the words of King David. David understood failure. He understood pain. He understood mistakes. Yet, during some of the darkest moments of his life, he wrote these immortal words. Psalms 23, 1-4 says these powerful words. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for His sake. As I reflected on this passage, I began to see something powerful. David viewed God as a shepherd who guides, a shepherd who protects, a shepherd who restores, a shepherd who remains faithful even when we lose our way. As you reflect on those words yourself, I want to highlight several truths that help set me free from the silent killer of regret. Since He is my shepherd, I am not alone. I do not need to live in fear. Restoration is possible. There is still a path forward. Even my darkest valley is not my final destination. Let those truths settle into your heart for a moment, because regret wants you to believe that your story is over. Your shepherd reminds you that your story is still being written. Today, I'd like to place a warrant for the arrest of the silent killer called regret. Why? Because it has been stealing joy, stealing peace, stealing purpose, and stealing precious years from people who were meant to live fully. But before this criminal can be stopped, we must first recognize its tactics. We must admit that regret has no intention of helping us. It only wants to keep us trapped in the past. If you're willing, I want you to agree with me right now in your heart and say these words: I refuse to allow regret to control my future. Because once we make that decision, something powerful begins to happen. We stop looking backward and begin moving forward. And as I learned in my own life, God has already provided what we need to overcome the silent killer. He has given us 4 bodyguards, 4 powerful gifts that stand between us and regret. Before I reveal them, let me share what happened when regret held me captive. When regret controlled my thinking, my world became very small. My focus narrowed. My vision became constricted. Instead of seeing possibilities, I only saw problems. Instead of seeing opportunities, I only saw failures. I became trapped inside my own thoughts. My pride made the situation even worse. I convinced myself that I could solve everything alone. I told myself I didn't need help. I didn't need support. I didn't need anyone. That was one of the greatest deceptions regret ever sold me. As time passed, I began isolating myself. I withdrew from people who cared about me. I lost sight of my purpose. Life felt heavy. And when unexpected challenges appeared, they seemed impossible to overcome. Looking back now, I realized I wasn't trapped because there was no way out. I was trapped because I could no longer see the way out. Maybe you are standing in that exact place today. If so, please don't give up. Lift up your eyes. There's a God who sees you, a God who loves you, and a God who cares deeply about what you're going through. Let me share with you the 4 bodyguards. Just as God helped King David, just as he helped me, he is able to help you. Let's meet the 4 bodyguards he provides. Bodyguard 1, reassurance. One of the greatest gifts God gave me was reassurance, the confidence that I was not facing my struggles alone. You know what I discovered? People everywhere are desperately searching for a safe place, a place where they can share their pain, a place where they won't be judged, a place where they won't be exposed, a place where they won't be abused. In a world where everything seems to be recorded, posted, and repeated, genuine confidentiality has become rare. And because it's rare, it's incredibly valuable. I remember how desperately I wanted someone who would simply listen, not fix me, not lecture me, not judge me, just listen. Thankfully, I found that kind of support. And from that moment forward, I made a decision. I would become that kind of a person for others. God offers us that same reassurance. He listens, He understands, and He never turns away from a sincere heart. Bodyguard 2, restoration. When reassurance entered my life, restoration soon followed. Something remarkable happened. The weight I had been carrying began to lift. The burden became lighter. My heart became stronger. My hope began to return. That is what restoration does. It breathes life into places that have become weary. It reminds us that our failures do not have the final word. The Apostle Paul spoke about this freedom when he wrote in Galatians chapter 5, verse 1. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm, then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Freedom is not something we merely talk about. It is something we can experience. And once we experience it, we must stand firm and refuse to be burdened again by the slavery of regret. Bodyguard 3, direction. One of regret's greatest weapons is confusion. When regret controlled my life, I couldn't see clearly. I struggled to make decisions. I doubted myself constantly. But once I experienced restoration, something changed. I began to dream again. I began to see possibilities again. I began to recognize opportunities that had been there all along. Direction returned. And with direction came confidence. Not confidence based on other people's approval, but confidence rooted in purpose. I no longer needed everyone to agree with me. My focus became simple: to add value, to help others, and to make a difference. The shepherd always leads towards purpose. The voice of regret always leads toward fear. Choose carefully which voice you follow. Bodyguard 4. Total rest. This final bodyguard may be the most precious of all, because true rest is much deeper than simply getting a good night's sleep. True rest touches the body, the soul, and the spirit. We were created for peace. We were created to live free from constant anxiety and endless striving. Yet so many people are exhausted, not because they have worked too hard, but because they have worried too much. They have carried burdens they were never meant to carry alone. Jesus offered a beautiful invitation in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Listen to these words. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." What an incredible promise. Not temporary relief, not momentary comfort, but true rest. The kind of rest that reaches the deepest parts of who we are. Now here's the balance. Before we finish today, I want to return to something I shared earlier. There was a time when regret would keep me awake at night. My mind replayed the past endlessly. What I should have done, what I could have done, what I wish I had done. The if only moments of life never completely disappear. They will continue knocking at the door, but we do not have to answer. Instead, we can stand on the promises of our shepherd. We can trust the reassurance, restoration, direction, and rest he provides. We can learn from the past without living it. And that changes everything. Thank you for spending these moments with me. My hope is that something shared today reminded you that your mistakes do not define you, that your regrets do not own you, and that your future is still filled with possibility. Take some time to reflect on these thoughts, and remember, wisdom learns from yesterday, faith lives in today, and hope walks towards tomorrow. And when you're ready, I invite you to join me for episode 3, the mindset that is keeping us stuck. Until then, I'm Tony Zotti. Take care of your heart.